Hey guys, and welcome to my one of my rogue builds. So today we're going to be focusing on a raiding build, but this build could also be used for PvP. So if you're looking for a decent amount of single target and AoE DPS, then this build could be for you. It's quite simple, so it could get boring, but you are playing an MMO. Sorry, I've got a bad throat today. You are playing an MMO, so they do get boring at times. But yeah. So in this guide, I'll go through the actual spec itself. So where you put all the points into your souls, and also what souls you're going to be choosing. The rotation for the spec, and also some tips and tricks that should help you along the way. So I will go straight into the spec itself. So the souls are Marksman, Ranger and Rift Stalker. So 61 in Marksman, 15 in Ranger and 0 in Rift Stalker. I take Rift Stalker basically for the Shadow Shift, which teleports you 15 meters forward. I just use this just for a small escape. I know some people use Saboteur for the 8-second snare on all enemies, which is also useful, but I just prefer Shadow Shift. So that's the spec itself. So 61 Marksman, 15 Ranger, 0 Rift Stalker. You can change the third soul to pretty much whatever one you want and whichever one you prefer, so just go through each other soul and just look at the first two abilities and see which one you like the most. So if I now go into the rotation, so this build basically uses all macros and then just a couple of extra abilities on your bar. So I'll show you all of the macros that are associated with this spec. So the first one, which is the builder. Oh, sorry, had to burp. So this macro is the builder. So you want it to show empowered shot, because this is the most important ability for your building. But you want to cast decoy first, because that will create an extra U basically, and will just help. I think it deals a bit of damage, and that will just increase your DPS by a tiny bit. And then obviously cast empowered shot, and then swift shot, and then free recoil. So if we now go on to the finisher, so once you've built up your points up here, obviously you're going to want to use your finishers just because that's how you play Rift. So you want to show rapid fire shot because this is the most powerful finisher that you have. But you're going to want to cast free recoil before your actual finisher. So basically free recoil, I can't remember exactly what it says, but whenever you use, if this is active, whenever you use your next finisher, it only takes off 2 of your points. So say right now I'm on 5 points. If I were to activate free recoil and use, let's say, Deadeye Shot, I would only lose 2 of my points and I'd be on 3. So then I could just use another empowered shot, and then go straight back into another finisher. So that just increases your DPS by quite a lot. You're then going to want to have strafe next. You can have these keys on whatever ones you prefer, but this is just the layout that I'm going with. So strafe deals blah damage over 4 seconds. Grants immunity to stun, root and snare to the rogue, and awards 1 combo point for each second of use. So if you use it for the whole 4 seconds, actually, if you use it for the entire 4 seconds you get 5 because the first shot gives you 1 point. And also you can use this ability whilst moving. So this is going to be useful for when you're in a raid. If there's AoEs on the ground, you can just get a lot of damage out whilst you're moving, and not have to concentrate on too much on attacking the boss, and just getting out of those AoEs. So our next ability is quick reload, so resets all of the cooldowns on all of your marksman abilities. So that's pretty much, I think it's all of these macros and strafe, and then a few other things that I'll go into later. If I then go on to the other finisher, so you have two finishers in here. Deadeye Shot is your third finisher. Now you're only going to want to use this when Bullseye is available. So just before you use Deadeye Shot, you're going to click Bullseye, so forces the next damaging marksman ability to critically hit. So you're going to want to use that and then use Deadeye Shot, just because it's worth it, because it's going to be, I can hit up to 35,000 plus with mine, even though it only says 10k damage. I can hit over 30k, so yeah, it's quite a lot of difference. So then we'll then go into the AoE abilities. So our first one is Sentry Battery. Now I don't like this one because it drains so much of your energy. You can pretty much only just manage to use this ability twice in a row before all of your energy is gone. So it's not very efficient, and it doesn't even do that much damage. So I'd probably just take this off of your ability bar, but some of you may like it. The next AoE ability is Chain Destruction, and I prefer this a lot more over Sentry Battery, sorry, just because it deals a lot more DPS, and also doesn't use as much energy. It uses more to start off with, but doesn't use any whilst channeling. So as soon as you, well, I'll show you. If I use it, look at my energy, it goes straight down, but then by the time it's finished you're already back to full, so it's really good. I'll go into this about this later. In fact, that's wrong, but I'll go into those sort of stuff later. And then your other AoE is Macro. There it is. So we have, I don't really use this much because it doesn't have too much damage, but the Crossfire ability can be used quite well. So Show Crossfire, Cast Crossfire, Lightning Fury, and then Fan Out. And basically Crossfire, so it deals AoE damage up to 5 enemies, and all of those enemies are knocked back if they're close to you, and it can also allow movement. So it's a 4-second channel ability. So that's quite useful if you somehow pull some mobs in a raid or a dungeon, and you just need them to get away from you, so that the tank can aggro them back again. So just a few other abilities left. So we have On the Double, which increases movement speed by 50% for 5 seconds. So that's just a getaway ability. Retreat, Leap Backwards. It doesn't say the distance, and I'm not sure on the distance, but well, I'll show you. It's not too bad if we just scroll out. So it's quite a long way, to be honest. And then obviously Shadow Shift to get you straight back in the same position. So I think this one knocks you back about 15 meters, because that was a similar distance. These three you don't need to worry about, or this one, because that's not part of the spec itself. But these four are. So we have Static Shot, roots the enemy for 5 seconds or until damaged. This doesn't work for bosses. I don't think it works for any bosses, just because they're immune to that stuff. Repelling Shot deals weapon damage and knocks the enemy back, so sort of like Crossfire. It's just a one ability shot where you can knock your enemy away from you. Eradicate, which removes 2 buffs. Usually this is used within raids, when bosses have stacking buffs and you need to get rid of them. That's also useful. And then Deaden, which is an interrupt and will silence for 5 seconds. And this can also be used in PvP, and is very useful for getting rid of those stupid healers. So that is the that's all of the abilities. The rotation itself, you're gonna want to go. Okay, I'll just get rid of all of my points. Okay. Oh, I will also turn off this just so you can see a bit more. I will go into this in a minute. Disable. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the rotation. You're going to want to start with spamming your number 1 or your builder and get up to 5 points. You're then going to want to use your finisher, build it up again, and then go straight into bullseye and then deadeye shot. Build your points up again, go for another finisher, and powered shot back into a finisher, straight into strafe, which will then get you back up to 5 points. Finisher, and then you can press 4 and reset all your abilities, do the same thing again. Okay, so what I'll show you the whole thing without me talking, just so you can see exactly what it's like, and also my DPS. So we'll start off a new one. So I'll move this up slightly. Okay, so you can check out my DPS as well. So, in before I fail. So as you can see, I've got quite good DPS, and I did just fail the rotation because I forgot, but never mind, it doesn't affect you too much. So straight into strafe, and then you finish it. Okay, so I had 7k plus DPS, which is pretty nice really, because my gear isn't even that good. So just some tips and tricks, which this basically involves something called Cruel Alert, which is a system which basically checks all your buffs. Now I've just realised that this isn't really needed for this spec. I will create a couple things though, so we'll go for bullseye first. Now I'm not the best at this, so I may fail. So you just name your name it whatever you want. This is a buff. Is it a buff? Yeah, yeah. This counts as a buff. So you leave it as buff. You're gonna want to just start searching for it, and you can find it. Automatically gives you a picture. The buff lasts for 60 seconds, and then you want to see. Wait, no, I've done that wrong. Ah, here we go. You're gonna want to, basically you're gonna want to know when it's off cooldown, so that you can use it again and go straight into deadeye shot, just so you can maximise your DPS. So ability bullseye, you want it when it's ready, and combat only, just because otherwise it gets really annoying when you have a constant thing in the middle of your screen. And we're gonna, just for now, we'll scale it for 2.5 just because I like that. And the opacity, which is how much you can see through it, is 75. So if we save that and then edit and pull it down here. So if you watch now, I'm gonna start attacking. So as you can see, it's available. I'm then gonna use it, and it's gone. And when it's available again, so I'll use quick reload. As soon as it's available again, it comes back up and shows you that it's available. So that's just a really good way of knowing, without having to look at all of your abilities, when this ability is up. You could also do that for strafe, and other than that I don't think it's really needed on any other ability. Nope, that's it. So yep, that's it for this guide today, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and that it helped you, or helped some of you at least, and that some of you can use this in PvP and raids. Once again, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see some of you next time.